3.6 Using the t-statistic when the sample size is small. In sections 3.2 through 3.5, the t-statistic is used in conjunction with critical values from the standard normal distribution for hypothesis testing and for the construction of confidence intervals. The use of the standard normal distribution is justified by the central limit theorem, which applies when the sample size is large. When the sample size is small, the standard normal distribution can provide a poor approximation to the distribution of the t-statistic. If, however, the population distribution is itself normally distributed, then the exact distribution, that is, the finite sample distribution, see section 2.6 of the t-statistic, testing the mean of a single population, is the student t distribution with n minus 1 degrees of freedom, and critical values can be taken from the student t distribution. A segment entitled A Way to Increase Voter Turnout. Apathy among citizens toward political participation, especially in voting, has been noted in the United Kingdom and other democratic countries. This kind of behavior is generally seen in economies where people have greater mobility, maintain an intensive work culture, and work for private corporate entities. Apart from these, there could be other dominant factors that have had a negative impact on the citizens' willingness to participate in elections. Politicians failing to keep their promises and appropriately using public funds. In 2015, during the campaign period before the general election, a study was conducted in Manchester, in a Manchester constituency in the United Kingdom. The constituency's voter turnout rate in the 2001 general election had been 48.6%, while the national average had been 59.4%. Thus, voter participation in this constituency was far below the national average. For the experiment, 3 groups, 2 treatment groups, and 1 control group were randomly selected out of the registered voters from whom landline numbers could be obtained. One of the treatment groups was exposed to strong canvassing in the form of telephone calls, and the other treatment group was exposed to strong canvassing in the form of door-to-door visits. No contacts were made with the control group. The callers and the door-to-door canvassers were given instructions to ask respondents 3 questions, namely, whether the respondents thought voting is important, whether the respondents intended to vote, and whether they would vote by post. The conversations were informal, and the main objective of this exercise was to persuade citizens to vote. By focusing on the importance of voting, the callers and canvassers were also advised to respond to any concerns of the voters regarding the voting process. The researchers got interesting results from the elections. The participation rate was 55.1% in the group, which was exposed to canvassing. The participation rate for the treatment group, which was treated with telephone calls, was 55%. Both these rates had a difference with the control group, which was not exposed to any treatment. Further calculations using suitable methodologies gave estimates of the effects of canvassing and telephone calls. 6.7% and 7.3% were the estimates of the two. The overall experiment was a success at the 2 interventions done on the 2 treatment groups by a nonpartisan source had impacts that were statistically significant. The exercise illustrated that students can be nudged to participate in elections by creating awareness through personal contacts. In yet another democracy, the 2014 saw record turnout.